The names of the individuals who said no to this: Brett Bielema, Josh Brooks, who is the Georgia athletic director, Oregon State athletic director Scott Barnes, Miami, University of Miami and Florida athletic director Dan Radakovich, and former Wyoming coach Craig Bohl.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for clicking on this video. I do appreciate it. So Coach Prime breaks the internet on Friday. We're celebrating. Everybody's celebrating for his $54 million contract. And then here we go. Some bad news. The NCAA just couldn't help themselves. We're going to talk about it. But before we do that, please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as I upload it to YouTube. All right, family, I got to go ahead and get into this video real quick. So that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. Go ahead and call them the Bad News Bears. Of course. Of course, I'm sure you've heard through the grapevine, through this channel or another source, that Coach Prime actually wanted to play the spring game against another school. So guess what? North Carolina came into play because Bill Belichick being the GOAT. It would have been a great idea because Bill Belichick is actually new to college football his first year. Him against Coach Prime, the juggernaut Coach Prime. You know what I'm saying? The $10 million man, Coach Prime. That would have been a great look. But Syracuse coach stepped in and said, you know what? Coach, I got you. I'll come for 3 days. We can do this. Bada boom, bada bang. Everybody wins. You feel me? I thought that was a great idea. So they filed some paperwork. And all the NCAA had to do was just say, you know what? That's a great idea. Other people around the sport thought that it was a great idea. Guess who else thought it was a great idea? If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Kyle Whittingham of the Utah Utes, who was also asked about the spring game. And he was like, yeah, I think it's a great idea. He suggested his own low terms. See, I don't want to botch the story, but I think he said, we want to play Oklahoma. We want to do it the way that we used to do it. And that would be a good thing because they're no longer in the Big 12. And that would be a good look. So, but he gave Coach Prime the credit. So he thought that was a great idea. There were some coaches that were on board and this was a great idea, but we wake up to some bad news. So let's go ahead and go to the tape and talk about it. Here's the news. I'm going to read the news and then give you my commentary. So make sure you stay for the commentary. Let's go. You know how the NCAA works. Somewhere in the back of your head, you're like, we know they're not going to do it, but you were hopeful. This was not Coach Prime's first time saying it. He has said it before, but when he put it out this time, it went viral. And let's go to the tape. Deion Sanders gets bad news from NCAA after securing future in Boulder, of course. And this is by the Bro Bible or Bro Bibble. I don't know how you pronounce that. Jacob Elsey is the writer of this article. Let's go into it. Let's read the news. The Colorado football program locked Deion Sanders in for the foreseeable future this week with a massive new contract extension. The same day the coach was shut down by the NCAA. Sanders have been pushing for a joint spring game to allow the Buffs to compete against another college football team in the offseason. He's been adamant on his stance throughout the spring as he preps for year 3 in Boulder. Spring games have become a point of contention for major programs around the country due to the transfer portal. The portal window opens soon after spring practices concludes. Coaches worried about tampering have started to either shut media out from the annual scrimmage or cancel it altogether. Off-season tampering has been seen firsthand in Colorado. Deion Sanders saw wide receiver Montana Lamanius Craig hit the transfer portal hours after a 150-yard explosion in the team's spring game in 2023. Yeah, we all remember that. Y'all remember MLC leaving us for the bag? Y'all remember that, right? Colorado fans. Others have experienced similar situations over the last 2 years. In order to combat the tampering, coaches are denying players the opportunity to showcase their talents to fans and the other suitors before season starts. Sanders has a much different outlook. He wants all eyes on the Buffs. The coach suggested scrimmaging against another Power 4 program, much like what's seen at the NFL level. He's been denied. This is more from Brian Howard of Buff Zone. The NCAA Division I Football Bowl Subdivision Oversight Committee has denied waiver requests by CU and Syracuse to conduct joint practices and an 11-on-11 scrimmage on April 19th at Folsom Field. The committee reviewed and provided feedback to the NCAA staff. The committee reviewed and provided feedback to the NCAA staff on a legislative relief waiver request to permit 2 FBS institutions to engage in a joint contact practice session, a joint non-contact practice session, and an 11-on-11 scrimmage during the institution's 2025 spring practice period. The report read, the committee raised concerns regarding the timing of the request, noting most institutions have already played their spring practice periods and some are at the end of or have completed their spring practice period. The competitive and recruiting advantage gained by the applicant institutions if a waiver was approved to allow these institutions to engage in activities no other institutions are permitted to do, and the potential academic impact associated with student athletes missing class time to participate in practice activities. Let's continue on to dailycamera.com where we're going to pick up from. All right, so on number 1 was the timing. Number 2 was competitive and recruiting advantages gained by the applicant institutions. And then number 3 was the potential academic impact associated with student athletes missing class time to participate in practice activities. The committee advised the NCAA staff that for the reasons noted above, it opposed the waiver. The committee agreed to discuss during a future meeting a concept that could permit joint spring practices in future seasons. With the request denied, CU's black and gold intra-squad scrimmage will go on as planned at Folsom Field on April 19th at 2:30 p.m. on ESPN2. Earlier this week, CU Athletic Director Rick George said he was hopeful the waiver would be granted, adding he felt there was a really good chance it could happen. Although it won't happen this year, George said he likes Sanders' idea for joint spring games. I think this is a great idea for college football, George said. You've got some schools out there looking at not playing a spring game. We're looking at playing a spring game that's going to drive more fans in here the springtime that gets excited about your program. And maybe the networks start covering more spring games, and there's a monetary value that schools can recoup. So I think Sanders' idea is brilliant, and I support it. I guess the name of the show is the Rufino and Joe Show. They had some inputs, but they also had the names of the people that actually voted against this effort. So let's go ahead and turn to them so they can give us that information. Make sure to stay tuned for my commentary. It's coming right after this. All right, so the video, if you want to check this video out, is Deion Sanders versus NCAA, the shocking truth behind their decision. And if I remember, I'll try to put a link to the video in the description. If I forget, charge it to my head, not my heart. I mean well. But gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing me to use this video for example.
You do, but you never pay attention to. You just get mad at the entity that is the NCAA. The names of the individuals who said no to this: Brett Bielema, Josh Brooks, who is the Georgia athletic director, Oregon State athletic director Scott Barnes, Miami, University of Miami and Florida athletic director Dan Radakovich, and former Wyoming coach Craig Bohl. So that is the group that shot this down and said that there was a competitive advantage. Now, I don't know off the tops of my head when all of those schools participated and already how far in they are into the spring, but it's kind of funny to realize some of the schools that were saying no to this essentially.
It's fair to say at least they put it to a vote. Salute to Blake and Joe and salute to their show. And they're right about what they say, because we can just get mad at the entity. We can just be mad and be like, oh my goodness, the NCAA sucks. Here we go again. But they put it to a vote, and a few players or a few entities voted against it. Rewind the video if you want to hear those names again and what schools they came from. I don't know why they are against this idea, but I guess maybe their school has already participated in their spring game and they feel like, oh no, we don't want this because it's not fair. We've already played our spring game. It's going to give them more airtime. It's interesting how these people are stopping it. So here's my thought on this. The thing is, I don't know how it really hurt your school. Yeah, I kind of understand it, but the Colorado fan in me and the college football fan in me feel like, come on now, it's just a little bit of hating going on. Okay, so your school may not benefit because you either already played your spring game. Nobody knew about your spring game anyway. You didn't do a good enough job to promote it, to market it, and put it out there so people can know about it. So I don't know that it would have been any type of advantage for you to play another school. What other school that you would have invited to want to play you that would have given you some type of advantage? If your process was not publicized, what difference would it have made if you would have had time to play another school? While I understand it, you didn't have to hate on the process, okay? Let it happen. It's going to happen next year. It sounds like this is a great idea that a lot of people like. Just a handful of teams or schools, institutions didn't want it to happen and they blocked it, but it would have been cool to see Syracuse and Colorado play this game. That would have been nice. I mean, come on, do something good for a change. I feel like it's good for the sport. This was good for the sport. You have to look at this type of stuff from different sides. It can't always be just about your school. It also could be for the sport. You put it on, we all see Syracuse and what happens with Syracuse and Colorado. We see that happen, and then people can decide for next year. You can decide if this is a good idea for your school or not. You feel me? So this was like your litmus test. This was going to be your measuring stick. Let's see how this happens. From an expenditure standpoint, you could have evaluated this from a competitive standpoint, how hard the guys were going, people getting hurt, and you would have had something to go off if they allowed this to happen next year. Even though there was not enough time to get everybody involved, but this could have been the opportunity for everybody to see what happens. It is what it is, but the good news or the silver lining is that door is wide open now. The conversation has started. People are aware, and it seems like people do like the idea, with the exception of what transpired this year. So we look forward to it happening next year, and it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing it happen and seeing what comes out of it or what transpires out of it. If you like videos like this content, college football content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it. It does help the channel to grow. It helps me to continue to do this and bring free content to you guys. And subscribing is free. Hitting that like button is also free. Hitting the bell button is also free. And commenting, come on, you got to say something. You feel me? For the algorithm to know that you are engaged with the content. Look forward to some videos for Alabama, Georgia, and other college football teams. This channel is really dedicated to finding those stories, those heartfelt, heartwarming stories that connects you personally with your favorite team. And if you are new to college football, you will find a story here on TLP Sports Club about a specific team that may connect you to a specific university and their team. So we may help you to fall in love all over again with your favorite team, or this might be an introduction to you falling in love with one of these college football teams. So make sure to keep it locked here on TLP Sports Club. Enjoy the games, guys. I'll see you on the next video.